Uh, Good morning, everybody. It's a hot July 2nd.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of our heat wave that seems to always happen around the 4th of July lately. And I'm here with Steve Disbrow, or Diz, as he likes to be called, who is our State
Hello.
House nominee for this upcoming November election. Steve or Diz, how are you doing this morning?
Doing pretty good, Tom. How are you?
I'm all right. Just trying to stay cool. Like I said, it is a little on the hot side outside
Yeah, it
right
is
now.
very hot outside.
And yeah, well, and I know you're going to see each other on the 4th because you're going to be down in Trenton for the 1945 days, I think, at our table.
Yep.
So good to see you there, and we'll swelter together. So anyway, what I typically do on these is to get the thing started is just turn it over to the candidate, give you about 2 or 3 minutes to tell everybody about you, what your background is, who you are, family, whatever you want to talk about. That's up to you. So I'm going to do that right now and let you go
Okay.
ahead and get things going.
Okay. Well, my name is Steve Disbrow. I go by Diz. It's a family nickname because the last name's pronounced Disbrow. And I'm a computer programmer by trade. I also dabble in comedy and theater stuff. I was co-founder of Improv Chattanooga back in 2014 or 2015 with my then partner, Kevin Bartolomucci. And ran that right up until I guess 2023 when I decided to retire from that to spend more time with the family. And but I've been doing more. I do like murder mysteries and things like that. Private shows. I'm going to be doing a show down in Dalton in a couple months. Actually, next month in August. It's not a couple months anymore. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm 60 years old, so a young buck in this particular political field, I guess.
Right.
Um, um, yeah, there's not much really more to say about my background. I'm self-employed, so I know how hard it is to get insurance, even with the ACA. In fact, the
Yeah.
ACA makes it hard. They've made the ACA harder to use lately. So,
Right. Right.
yeah. So,
So you went from a career in comedy to what many people would be consider attempting a career in tragedy. Well, I'm
yes.
joking. Now that's my attempt at comedy. I am joking a
No,
little bit there.
that's
But
very good.
what brings you into well, first of all, let's go a little background just for people who don't know, because
Yeah.
there might be some people are watching it. You are running for House District
One. Yeah,
one
House District
and
One, which
one
is
House
all
District
of
one. Go ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead.
it's all of Dade County and a big chunk of Walker County,
Hmm.
Rossville, um, Flintstone, I think, and Lafayette. Not Chickamauga. That's been carved out
Yeah. Yeah.
very thoughtfully by the Republicans. So yeah, so that's but it's I believe it's the entirety north to south of Walker County. It's just a carve out.
Yeah, it's
So
like basically you can just think of like the western half, or maybe the
yeah,
western 60% even, or something like that. And you
yeah.
live in
If
Rossville, right?
I do, I live in Rossville.
Okay.
I can see Chattanooga from my window. I can also see the new Adventure Acres
Yeah.
splash pad and kiddie park there that they opened a couple months ago, and the splash pad is down for repairs, which is disappointing. But hopefully
Hmm.
that'll get fixed soon.
Well, yeah, it'd be a good time to have one, I think, right now.
Yeah, I'm feeling bad for all the kids that are going to be off this weekend and looking for
Right.
something cool to do, and it's just not working. But
No.
there's always Lake Winnie.
Yep. Well, okay, now that we got that out of the way, so
Yep.
you would be and your opponent in November is the current incumbent, Mike Cameron.
Yes,
Right. Okay.
Mike Cameron, I believe is his
Right.
name,
Yeah.
and uh, yeah, I don't really know much about him. Nobody seems to know much about him because he's not really, from what I could tell, done much other than be a rubber stamp for the Republicans in the House and Governor Kemp. So I don't know. I don't think he's a huge MAGA guy necessarily. I've not heard. I know he had a primary opponent who was a huge MAGA
Yeah.
type that lost pretty convincingly. So
Yeah, and
it's good.
I think Colton Moore put that guy up to run. I think that's not,
Oh,
that's my guess. I think,
okay.
but
Well,
yeah,
I
it
never,
wouldn't surprise me.
I never did get to meet Neil, but I did see a lot of his signs out. And I know that between Neil and myself, I know that Mike has been actually running this time, which he hasn't really
Right.
had to do in a long time. So he had some signs out. He had a billboard there on Battlefield Parkway, and so it's good. I mean, it's good that
Yeah.
he's finally having to at least pretend to listen to his constituents.
Well, and I will say that like you, I haven't seen him much, but I am a member of the Trenton Optimist Club, and he did speak to them a few weeks ago when I was there.
Okay.
So yeah, I think he is being forced to run for office in a sustained way for the first time, probably since he ran for the first time, I think.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
and that's a good thing. We're
Yeah.
the little nonprofit that we have developed to sponsor these videos, North Georgia Democrats. Our goal is to not necessarily elect Democrats, although we want to do that, but we want to promote democracy by just giving people choices, and by you
Yeah.
running and by others running, and that's what we're doing here. And I appreciate that. It's not easy to stick yourself out there and run for office. It opens you up to things that you've never experienced before. Let's put it that way.
That's true. Well, fortunately, showbiz is a little bit like that. You get
Yeah.
in showbiz, you go sometimes you go out of your way to help people to achieve their goals, and
Mhm.
those people turn around and stab you in the back or in the front, quite
Yeah.
often, repeatedly in the front.
Right.
So showbiz is kind of a good training ground for politics. But so far, I've just I guess flown under Mike's radar or the Republicans' radar, but because this is looked at as a very safe district.
Mhm.
Although I would, I was very happy to note that I got 20% of the all the votes cast
Right.
in the primary, which was kind of gratifying. That had to get somebody's attention, I think, and we'll see
Yeah,
how they react.
we had a bigger Democratic turnout in our
Yep.
primary this time. It wasn't. I'm not saying it was like enormous or anything, but compared to
Yeah.
like the last couple of off-year elections, we did noticeably better
Yeah.
this time, I
Yeah.
think, and I think we'll see that again come November. So,
Yeah.
okay, so you're running for the state house. What
Right.
was it specifically, or was it an issue, or was it just something else that brought you to running for that position?
Well, I got asked, and I thought about running for office many times in the past, and some different issues that kept me from doing that. And an organization called the Fighting 50
Yeah.
reached out to me and was wanting to know if I was interested. And I thought about it, and I guess the thing that really kind of tipped it for me was what we were talking about just a minute ago. I don't know anything about my representative. He's
Mhm.
not he's not really been making any, if he's working for us here in this district, I don't know about it.
Right.
So I think it would be nice if we had a representative that actually went out and met with people and listened to them and tried to represent their interests in the state house and not just whoever's putting money in their pockets. I guess I'm running kind of for the same reason you developed a nonprofit, just to to run and also to hopefully better represent the people of the district.
Right. And I know from talking to you and from knowing you that
Mhm.
you've already developed what your basically your top issues are. Can you explain, like, say, your top two issues? And I think you've even crafted a proposal
Yeah.
for a bill. So can you talk us through some of that?
Sure. The one thing that the one well these are a couple of related things. We've got these data centers that are going
Hmm.
up all over the state, all over the country, and I'm a computer guy, and I'm feeling the effects of this build out of these data centers in a lot of different ways. Number one, computer prices, RAM prices, things like that are going through the roof. People
Right.
can't really buy computers affordably anymore because these data centers are eating up all the raw materials that you need to build computers. So beyond that, you've got the environmental impacts, you've got the job impacts, you've got the resource impacts, and these things are being sold as like a great source of jobs, and they're really not. You've got the construction jobs that build them, and then that's it. A couple of guys can run a data center remotely. So a lot of these things, they're going to be sold to people as, oh, we're going to bring a bunch of jobs in, yeah, for like 6 months, and then they're going to be gone. And then
Right.
the environmental impacts will live on. So one of my issues, I guess, then is, we need to look better at the impact that these things have and whether or not they're right for Georgia or for anywhere for that matter, and maybe have a moratorium on building these things until we know a little bit better about how they affect the communities around them. And we've all heard the horror stories of people, companies coming in and using eminent domain to take land and homes and all that sort of stuff just to build these data centers, which could even be obsolete in 5 or 10 years just because of the pace of technology. So, sort of piggybacking onto that, I've got another issue, which is a jobs issue, which is AI. So we've got all this AI out there running around right now. And I'll be honest, I use AI sometimes in my job to help me with a sticky problem or something like that in computer programming. But we've got all this generative AI, and we've got. Am I frozen? No. And we've got
Well,
we've
you
got
froze just for a second, but
froze
you're
for a
good
second.
now. Yeah.
Okay. So it's odd. I pay for 2.5 gigs of. See, this is another thing.
Yeah. Well,
I pay for 2.5 gigs of internet.
yeah.
So, right. So I've got another thing. It's called the FAIR Act. It's Fair AI. I've forgotten the
Right.
acronym. Anyway, it's about hiring with AI. You've got these bosses that think they can come in and replace a $30,000 a year employee with a $20 AI license, per seat. And what you end up doing is you fire these people with all this experience because Georgia is a right to work state and an at-large state.
Hmm.
And they just fire them overnight. And then the next day they've been replaced by an AI. And then 6 months, 3 months down the road, typically less than that, it turns out that the AI can't do the job at all. So the purpose of the FAIR Act is to force employers, and this actually is an employer protection bill too, because of the scenario that I just mentioned. You get these employers that are fed this fantasy that the AI can do everything that they need it to do,
Right.
and then they invest tons of time and money getting the employees out of there, and and then the AI can't do the job, or the AI will delete their database. That has happened. Database AI's delete has there's a if you go to my website, there's a link to the FAIR Act with a complete description of it and also a working draft of it. And at the end of the draft are examples of why this is needed. And one of those examples is there was a company that rolled out all this AI and it deleted their database and all the backups because it thought it should. So,
Yeah.
um,
Well,
so the idea is to force employers to take some time to evaluate AI, to give employees that are going to be replaced by AI some severance pay, some continued insurance, and the first right of return once and if the AI turns out not to have been able to do the job. So,
okay. That sounds pretty detailed, and thanks for sharing that. Now, I don't like a lot of people. I have some computer knowledge. I'm not an expert at it,
mhm.
and I do my best to keep up with things associated with it. My first impression on a lot of this has been the AI thing is really vastly overblown. I'm
Yes.
not saying that there aren't going to be problems with it or but we're not talking about Terminator and Skynet here, as far as I can see. We're talking about software programs
Yeah.
that are more sophisticated, but they're basically there to interpret text, right? And and they're great
Yes.
at doing that, but that's about all they can do. I've used the AI on Google and others, and I've used it to ask about myself, for
Yeah.
example. And 90% of what it spews back is just pure nonsense because
Yeah.
it doesn't know it can't do a web search of me and
Yeah.
pull out. So it just starts making up stuff. So
Yeah.
anyway, I say all that to say this, that if we build all these data centers, isn't one of the danger of doing all this? We're going to sink all this money and resources into building these things because, if I'm not mistaken, the big powers that be think that all of this AI stuff is going to cause an exponential use of the internet. So we need to build all these data centers in anticipation of that.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, if it's all just sort of a bubble that's about to burst or will burst in the future,
Wh-
aren't we running the risk of putting all our money into this only to have these things fall into disuse and just being
yes.
sitting there? Yeah.
Yes, that is true. A couple notes to what you said. Working backwards.
Right.
I think it was a couple weeks ago. The amount of internet traffic generated by AI agents has outstripped the amount of traffic created by humans for the first time.
Mhm.
So there are more AI bots and agents on the internet right now than there are people. Okay.
Right.
So that leads to a thing called there's a theory, a conspiracy theory called the dead internet theory. And the dead internet theory is that the internet is nothing but bots. There are no actual people on. You and I aren't real. We're just
Right.
AIs that are talking right now to generate content for some reason.
Right.
That's not true. Birds are real
Right.
people.
Right. Yeah. I know.
Birds are real.
There's
Um,
plenty of people on the internet. I believe that.
there are
So
plenty
yeah.
of people on the internet.
Yeah.
Um, going back a little further to what you said about the dangers of AI. Um, yes, but unfortunately, folks like you and I who just use it for those types of things aren't the only people that are using it. You've got
Yeah.
governments that are looking to put it into weapons. And in fact, I think it was maybe a month ago, there was a report of an AI. Don't remember which military it was, but there was a military AI in a drone that made the first unassisted, no human was involved in this, but it actually killed a human on the battlefield.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's not Terminator yet, but it's definitely
No.
something that these people like Palantir and BlackRock and these other companies are anxious to have happen.
Right. And I would agree that there is a danger to it. Not what I was saying is there's not a danger in that it's going to become like self-aware and want to kill
Yeah,
all of us intentionally. The danger is if we come to rely too much on this stuff and it just can't handle all the
yeah,
load that we're putting on it, we're going to be
yeah,
inadvertently damaging things, killing people,
yeah.
causing economic distress for no reason whatsoever, basically.
There,
And that's kind of
there,
where I'm at on that. Yeah.
yeah. There are a couple different obvious outcomes. There's the Terminator outcome,
Right.
which is bad. There's the Matrix outcome, which is also bad. And then there's the Wall-E outcome, which is also bad, where we all get so fat and lazy that we don't know how to do anything for
Right.
ourselves anymore, and we let these robots take care of us.
And I will say on that side too, as a sci-fi fan, there's another actual good outcome. It could be there's the data outcome, I guess,
Oh, sure, from Star Trek.
where we could actually create an artificial intelligence that uses something like Asimov's rules to not harm
Yeah,
people. So yeah, I don't want to say it's all doom and gloom and all that, but
yeah,
I think all of that, we're so far away from all of that still that we've got a long way to go before we
yeah.
take these
And
programs and
and
multiply it out that way. Go ahead.
another aspect of this is that one of the reasons that these companies are pumping so much money into this is that they want the AGI. They want the artificial general intelligence. They want the super sentient
Mhm.
entity that actually is conscious and can think faster than any human could possibly conceive of, because
Right.
that is a weapon. It's
Right.
also, I mean, it's an advantage on the geopolitical stage. These corporations could then become basically untouchable if they have this at their disposal. So, yeah, one reason I'm running is to sort of put some safeguards in place on all that. I know the Trump
Right.
administration has tried to make it illegal for states to put safeguards in
Yeah.
on AI. They've made it where states can't regulate AI by themselves, which
Funny. It's funny how Republicans are all about federalism until they're not.
yes, yes, yes. As long as it makes them money,
If
they're
they're in
they're
control of the central government, they don't like federalism very much at all. And
yeah,
I'll say that about Democrats too. We both parties can do a little flip flop on that quite, but that's fine. That's
oh
kind of
yeah,
one of the advantages of federalism is that you
yeah.
have that alternative that you can. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, no, no. That was kind of the end of it. That brought it back to why am I running? So
Yeah.
yeah, to be able to put some sort of restriction on not just data center deployment and creation, but also on the AIs that are worming their way into every aspect of our lives.
Right.
So yeah, that's stuff that I mean, I'm a computer guy, and long time ago, what I wanted to work on was AI, but it was more like data. You know what you were
Hmm.
talking about. That was what I was kind of hoping for, not this give me 15 pictures of a cat ninja type stuff that
Right.
is just sort of
Yeah.
it's bread and circuses right now.
And I suspect the Peter Thiels and Elon Musks of the world, part of them wants to see, they want to destroy things. I think they have
Yeah.
that sort of dark twist inside of some of these guys where,
Oh yeah.
the idea of laying waste to half of humanity is not such a bad idea in their view. I hate to say that about anybody, but I do.
No, there is a movement. I can't remember the name of it, but it's out there. It's if we and the whole idea it's very Dune-esque. It's
Yeah,
very God Emperor Leto II
right,
esque, where you get rid of half of humanity now to make things better for humanity 1,000 years in the future. And
right.
there are some of these guys actually believe that crap. So
Yeah, and they're not half as smart as they think they are.
no,
All these guys who, Elon Musk knows about capacitors. That's one thing
yes,
in the world that he's an expert in. He's not really an expert in anything else. And
yeah,
knowing a lot about capacitors is cool, but it doesn't make you an expert on history or anything else. And
no,
and and when I read some of these ideas that come from these cranks, I'm just like, well, good God, it does not take a lot of skill to make a lot of money. Let me just put it that way.
yeah, no,
Uh,
that's true.
anyway, so
Yeah.
now we recently had a special a, s- a general a special assembly, I guess you could say. What was your take on what happened there?
Is it
Both good and
over?
bad.
I
Yeah, it's over.
okay.
Well, it is. It died with a whimper. Yeah, it's over.
Yeah,
So,
I had a root canal last week that had to be split into two parts, so I was kind of out of it last week. Um,
well, they backed down from the redistricting.
they backed down
The
from
Republicans
redistricting.
did.
I was awake
Right.
for that. I think the only thing that came out of it was they decided to push the QR code thing down the road. Is
They
that
did. They
right?
kicked that can down the road and through 2027.
Yeah.
And
So
the Republicans tried to do a red herring with the property tax
right,
thing,
right.
where
But
they
that
were going to lower people's property taxes, but then that was going to cause an increase in sales taxes.
sales tax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you what? Well,
And
speaking of taxes, it's a subject that nobody really likes to talk about, but it's a subject that, as an assembly person,
yeah.
what's your take on taxes generally? I mean, do you think the property and sales taxes are too high, and if so, what can we do about that? Or if they are
So
they too
I
low?
Well,
What you think?
so I grew up and lived most of my life in Tennessee, where
Hmm.
we don't have property tax. We don't have a well, we have
Income
property
tax.
tax. We don't have an income tax.
Yeah, you don't have an income tax, right?
And when I found this house here in Georgia, I'd actually lived in Georgia for a little while before this house that I'm living in now. I'm frozen again.
Yeah,
Um, but you know, I was worried, like everybody else that moves from no personal income tax state to a income tax state. I was worried. And I haven't really paid any income tax of note here in Georgia.
this
It's
whole
mostly been
idea that
pro
our income tax, yeah, this whole idea our income taxes is high is just
yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
So
go
it's
ahead.
mostly been property tax.
Yeah.
And given the house that I live in now is far too big for me because when I first bought it, it was for like 11 people. That has
Hmm.
changed since then. But so I pay a lot in property taxes every year, and it's gone up a little bit every year. But the services that we get here in Georgia are, you know, make up for it, I think. I mean, I
Right.
think for all their trying to not give us services, I think somehow the state government and the local governments managed to do a pretty good job. Garbage collection is cheap and reliable. Recycling is the same. The roads are in really good shape for the most part. Until very recently, when you cross the border here on Rossville Boulevard to go from Georgia into Tennessee, it was a nightmare. And Tennessee
Hmm.
has just recently paved that, and it's very nice now. But
Yeah.
for, I mean, I've lived here almost 10 years, and that's just in the last year that Tennessee's done that. So, you know, Tennessee really needs to get their act together. Whenever I go back home to my old neighborhood in Tennessee, the roads are just a disaster.
Right.
And you've got amazing schools here. I love public education. I love paying taxes. I don't mind paying taxes.
Right.
But I think the tax system should be fair and it should be equitable and it should not be a regressive tax like a sales tax,
Right.
which if you stop and think about it, switching to just a sales tax sounds great because what do I buy? What do I need? Blah,
Right.
what do I need in my day-to-day life? Well, we've got this lunatic in the White House who's starting these wars that send every price up. So now
Hmm.
your sales tax is going to go up as a result of everything else going up. So until we get inflation figured out at a national level and a local level, then sales tax is more than just regressive, it's aggressive. And it makes life miserable for everybody. It makes it harder to buy anything.
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of my take is we need, excuse me, I think we need to reassess what is it, the QBE formula for schools? Is that it?
Yeah. QBE. Yeah.
Yeah, so that hasn't been updated. So to back up,
Since 85, I think.
yeah, there's a formula that decides how tax money is spent on schools, on public schools, and that has not been updated since 1985. And they keep trying to find different ways to squeeze that and make it more difficult for that tax money to be used for schools. Because an educated populace is a dangerous populace because an educated populace knows how to think for itself and how to critically think and how to cut through the BS that a lot of these people put out there.
Right.
And the Republican strategy has just been to lie and lie and lie and lie and make people afraid of other groups of people. And all the while they're taking and squeezing and just putting more money in their own pockets. So I seem to have strayed a little from the
No, that's
prompt.
okay. No, I think what people need to realize, if you believe, like for example, in flat tax, which a lot of conservatives over the years have said they do,
Yeah.
well, you've got to know that every tax by itself is either regressive to some extent or progressive to some extent. Income
Hmm.
taxes tend to be more progressive. Sales taxes tend to be more regressive. The way to flatten out the tax demand is to have some of all of them and
Yep.
sort of flatten out those curves until it gets to be a truly flat, more or less tax where everybody's paying a certain, either close to a certain percentage or what have you. So yeah, you're trying to get rid of the income tax. That's what they really mean. The Republicans despise income taxes. They apparently love sales taxes because they try to raise them every chance they get.
Yeah.
And that's just hits poorer people harder is all that
Yeah.
does. And there's a place for sales taxes too. I'm not saying that they should just go away, but there should not be too much emphasis on any one particular kind of tax, I think. But
Yeah. And
and, and
if
we
you're a
certainly don't need
renter,
tariffs thrown in the back on that either.
oh
So
yeah.
go ahead.
And if you're a renter and you're thinking, oh, they should get rid of the property taxes, the only person that benefits is your landlord.
Right.
And if you think he's going to pass those savings on to you, you're not right in the head. You're not thinking right.
Right. Right.
So
Okay. Well, we've had a chance to talk about your major issues that you want to push as an assembly person. Let's see. Let's talk about the campaign. You mentioned your website. What's your website URL, by the way?
the website URL is diz, for the number four, ga.com.
Okay, so
And
DIZ4.
yeah, and that expands out to disbrow4georgia.com. And
Okay.
just got some basics up there, some issues that I'm looking at, and there's also a link to the Fair Act, which has more information, and I'm taking feedback on that as well. I had somebody point out that since Georgia's a right to work state and an at-large state, there are a few things in there that need to be fixed. So I'm working on that to make it more compatible with Georgia state law as it stands right now. Um, but um, but yeah, you can find out pretty much anything you need to know on the website and volunteer. Please volunteer. We could
Speaking of
use
that, that's
some.
one thing. Volunteers and money. What's
Yeah.
the what are some goals that we could maybe get to
Well,
help you with that?
this is such rural district that it's hard to find neighborhoods to go door knocking on. So
Hmm.
I've been driving around trying to, and there's a lot of new construction in the district that I've noticed. So I think we are going to try and do a door knocking campaign when it cools off a little bit. Um, so I'm looking for volunteers for that, people to put out signs, people to do phone banking, that sort of stuff. So just your typical campaign needs, really. Also, I've created a writer's room Since I come from a comedy background, I wanted to put together a writer's room to do some videos to make issues more accessible to people and present them in a comical way that hopefully will catch people's attention. We're going to try and start getting some videos out next month or late August, early September. Start addressing some of the different things because I think right now people are a little. I mean, we just had what, four elections here
Yeah,
in Georgia over the
there's a
last.
little election exhaustion going
Yeah,
on, I
there's a
think,
little
right now.
election exhaustion. So I don't want to be the guy that everybody thinks of as, oh, that he's on my TV again right now.
Yeah.
So I want to try and come out a little closer to election time with some quality stuff that'll get people excited about the campaign because it's not just about this election. It's about Senator Ossoff, and it's about uh, the governor's election and Jack in the Senate. So I think the theme that's running through my campaign is you are not alone. There are a lot of people. You said we had a much bigger Democratic turnout this time around. There are a lot of people in this district, in Dade County and Walker County, that that are tired of all this Republican nonsense. They're tired of the austerity. They're tired of hearing, "Oh, we don't have enough money for health care. We only have enough money for war."
Right.
They're tired of all that, and they're looking. They're for the first time in a long time. There's going to be candidates that feel the same way and that they can vote for. I'm one of those candidates. Jack's one of those candidates. Senator Ossoff has done a tremendous job. He's definitely a great candidate. I've met him a couple times. Heard him speak several more times. So if you even if you don't want to get out and vote for me, if you don't like the shirt or something, then you got to get out there and support Senator Ossoff because if we lose him, we lose the Senate probably. So
Right.
it's said every 2 years that this is the most important election of our lives. But I think if Trump lets us have this election, then this will actually be the most important election of our lives. And we've got to sweep. I don't even want to think of it as a blue wave. It's got to be a blue broom. We've got to sweep these people out. We've
Yeah.
just got to get rid of these fascists and all these other people. And it's nice that we have all these candidates running at the state level. It's great that we have these great candidates at the federal level as well. And if you are a progressive or a liberal or a woke person or just a normal Democrat, there's never been a better slate of candidates for you to get out there and actually believe in and vote for.
Okay. Well, Des, I thank you so much for your time today. I think we covered just about everything. Is there anything else you wanted to bring up before we go, or is that have we
Um,
covered all the bases?
No, I think we've covered all the bases. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. I don't want to date the video, but I'm looking forward to seeing everybody in Trenton on the 4th, and I hope
Okay.
everybody has a safe and happy celebration. Be careful with those fireworks, people.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't,
Oh, yeah.
losing a finger is
And
forever.
be careful with the heat too.
Yeah, be
Don't
careful
get
in the heat too. Stay
heat
hydrated,
heat
even with it.
stress, heat stroke, and all that. Yeah, you
Yeah,
got drink plenty
yeah,
of water and all that. So,
yeah. I have a
anyway,
friend
Des,
in
thank
New.
you so. Go
Thank
ahead.
you
I'm
so
sorry.
much. Thanks,
All right.
Tom.
Well, thank you for your
Bye bye.
time, and we'll see you
All right.
around on. I'll see you on Saturday on the 4th.
See you on the 4th.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.